I'm Dale Jackson, Presbyter for Vision and Leadership for Heartland Presbytery. Today we continue our Lenten exploration of God didn't make us to hate us. Our story is the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. Joseph, in his fancy coat, spends time with his father. Joseph is the favorite and is obviously a little bit spoiled. It seems he is favored by God as well. God gives him the ability to dream dreams and see visions. The problem is Joseph doesn't know when not to share. His brothers didn't love the dream where they bow down to their bratty little brother. We know the story, but Reverend Lizzie invites us to look a little deeper. And this is where her interpretation may be challenging for some people. Reverend Lizzie starts by reminding us that Joseph is a gay icon. Now, there are some textual clues. The Hebrew word used to talk of Joseph's coat would be more accurately translated as a princess's robe. It is couture for the day. Too fancy to work in, too over the top to be worn by most people, well, most men. It is a gender non-conforming garment. And that is the superficial reason Joseph is a gay icon. I think there is a deeper, more powerful reason as well. His brothers are tired and jealous of Joseph, the dreamer. Ultimately, they decide they can no longer stand to be around him. And the best course of action is to sell him into slavery and lie to their father. Joseph is an icon because he is one of the first people who suffered violence for being different, a hate crime for not conforming. In the United States in 2025, there were 1,042 anti-LGBTQIA+ incidents, marking a 5% increase from 2024. These included 128 acts of vandalism, 76 assaults, 22 threats of mass violence, and 15 attempts of arson. Over half of the incidents targeted transgender and other non-conforming individuals, a 10% increase from 2024. In 2025, a reported 46 trans people were killed violently for being trans, and nobody knows how many went unreported. Reverend Lizzie says, I wonder if you resonate with Joseph and the violence he faced. I wonder if you resonate with the brothers and their envy, their fear. If I'm honest, I resonate with both. Not the doing of a hate crime, but the envy that was its seed. I have been both the oppressor and the oppressed. I have been terrified to live out loud, have made myself smaller to make myself less of a threat for living in my joy, and I have been bitter, jealous, and angry when I saw other people living into a freedom I did not feel I could allow myself, she says. Friends, I have no idea where you stand on the rights of LGBTQIA+ people. But I believe every person is a child of God. And if you believe what Reverend Lizzie says, as I do, in the opening chapters of her book, where she reminds us God is infinitely creative and created each of us and loves each of us, then you have to oppose hate crimes committed against other children of God because they are just different than yourself. I warned you that Reverend Lizzie would challenge us today. Beyond challenge, she is political. It's okay with me because I cannot read the Bible without understanding that it is political. I read this chapter on Joseph just days after the state of Kansas dealt a devastating decision to our trans siblings. Overnight, Kansas lawmakers revoked the ID of trans individuals. Imagine what it would be like for you to wake up and suddenly not be able to drive yourself to work because you no longer have a valid driver's license. What if you were scheduled to fly somewhere? What would you do without valid ID? What can you do in today's world without a valid ID? God, in the form of Jesus, came for all of us to have life abundant. God desires us to have a glorious, flamboyant life in many colors and every color of the rainbow. You might not agree with anything I have said, anything Reverend Lizzie has written, and I'm not here to change your mind. But you will never convince me that God calls us to hate and to value another person. You will never convince me that God condones hate crimes against God's children. You will never convince me that God is anything other than a God of abundant, flamboyant, unimaginable love. Because that is what I read in the Bible over and over and over again. God is a God of love. God calls us to love all people. How can we kill them? How can we take away the fundamental things they need to live? How can we devalue another child of God? As always, we end with one of Reverend Lizzie's prayers. Will you pray with me? God, who painted the rainbow, exceedingly beautiful in its brightness, we praise you. You covered Joseph in your love as he was stripped naked and thrown into the pit. We know your love has blanketed so many of our queer ancestors, tenderly carrying them home when they were taken from us too soon. Oh God, they were taken too soon. Help us see. You have been with us in every pit, counting the hairs on our heads and whispering, I made you to shine. Forgive us for when we thought freedom was cheap enough to be sold. Forgive us for making ourselves smaller and calling it your will. We beg your mercy for the harm done in your holy name. We beg you, pry wide our cages as only you can. Show us the meaning of your freedom, your life for all of us. All of us. Amen.